This is William Mapan. He's a creative coder and the author of a project called Dragons, which was released earlier this week on fxhash. The project was very successful, depending on how you count it, maybe even the most successful project to date on the platform. I was curious about it and I wanted to ask William some questions. We've known each other for a long time, but we haven't caught up in a while, so I asked if he had some time for a chat. And I thought that maybe more people would be interested in hearing what he had to say. So I suggested structuring our chat as a kind of an interview. And if we like the result, we could maybe publish it for more people to listen to. Just for a bit of context, in case you're not familiar with fxhash, it is a fairly young platform, maybe only a few weeks old, and it's a place where creative coders and artists can upload projects and collectors can buy them. The artists don't upload the final visuals, they upload code. Then they set the number of editions, the price, and every time a collector mints it or buys an edition, the code is ran with a unique input, which generates a unique output. The platform has some momentum now, but as I mentioned, it's quite new, so our chat started with me asking William about it. When did you first hear about fxhash?
Uh, I think it was really like a strange coincidence because it was at the same time the release of this new platform called fxhash and the death, let's say it like that, of in-game Nuke, like Hen. It was, I think, the same day, same night, and like a storm was happening in the Tezos like NFT world. I was like, okay, something is dying, something is uh, coming. I was like, okay, what's this new platform? And I remember I was like with a friend, and we were like, oh, actually, that's super good. I think we should try it. So yeah, let's go. Let's give it a try. So at first I was like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, with like the FOMO, I was like, yeah, let's release something in the weekend. And the weekend passed, the FOMO disappeared. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll just continue my stuff and I'll release it when it will be ready.
And we've been able to follow a lot of the process that led to Dragons on Twitter. You've been
Mm,
posting screenshots for a few months before the release.
yeah.
Did you already have the goal to release it as a generative piece when you started it?
Definitely not. I think it was, I don't know if you remember, but at first it was more like rugs. I was posting like some kind of generative rugs images on Twitter a few months ago, but it wasn't. It was just for fun, I would say, just for me. Like wanted to print it somehow, and that's it. And then it started to diverge. So I just like created a new branch, on GitHub. I was like, okay, this is going too far from the tree. Let's create another branch. And so because the rugs were really like grid-ish, like something on a grid. And I was like, yeah, but I want something more organic. And that's how it started to grow like that. But I didn't have like plugins in mind yet. And it just I just started to iterate on it, like iterate, like okay, this looks good, this looks bad, and then oh yeah, this is a bug, but interesting bug. Let's go with this bug, and just keeping the iteration going. And at some point, I was like, oh, I think I have something now, and it looks like scales, and I think it looks like a creature, so maybe I should go in that direction. And I keep so digging in that direction. And at some point, I was like, okay, I think I have like some kind of reptile stuff going on. So let's just dig this style and let's just keep going that direction. So let's close all the other doors and let's go with that one. And yeah, I think I worked on it like for like 2 months, all in all. And yes, that led to Dragon. And at some point, I think like 1 month ago, I was like, okay, that's some dragons I have now. So I just have to make it more dragons now.
Right. So you were not looking for dragons. You stumbled upon them. You just found them by
Yeah,
accident.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. I think you already answered some of my other questions because I was interested in that process. There are different routes during the creative
Mm.
process, and sometimes you find dead ends, and sometimes you find unexpected paths that you
Yeah.
follow, and then it leads you to a project.
Yeah, definitely. I think I had a lot of dead ends. I was like, yeah, that look awful. So yeah, let's just revert and go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was a lot of mm, church research.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, I was like, yeah, okay, I found my way. Let's go there. But yeah, it took a lot of time to go there because with cloud it's not like something with a like GUI or like a Photoshop or like a 3D software. You can't touch button and something happy. You have to code it, and sometimes it takes time. So sometimes it takes like 1 week, an entire week, and at the end of the week you're like, no, it's shit. Okay. I you had this idea in mind, like yeah, it's gonna look super good. Let's go. And at the end, like, nah, nah,
Yeah.
yeah, trash.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Happened to me as well. But going back a bit to the idea of posting the progress constantly,
Mm.
perhaps you can talk a bit more about that. Like, what motivates you to disclose so much of your process on Twitter?
I think the first person uh, like concerned for like posting so much is me because I like to go to my own feed, and I like to watch the progression of the
Mhm.
project. So I think the first yeah, audience is me,
Right.
and with this, I like having feedbacks as well. So I like posting a lot, and people tell me like, yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah, this looks bad, and I accept a lot of criticism. Criticism. I'm like, yeah, just give it, give it to me. Like, give it. They give me some critics. I'm like, I will take it. I will hear it. I will understand. Sometimes you are saying completely wrong and you don't understand what I'm doing, but sometimes you do, and sometimes you have a point. So yeah, I like having this relation with Twitter. Like, there's a nonetheless conversation, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's really cool to because I like as well knowing the how a project is made, like
Mm-hmm.
from other people. So I like to post it as well. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe it will interest some people the same way I'm interested in other projects.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. And did it cross your mind that someone might look at one of your early steps while it's still, let's say, you can kind of know what is behind it, and maybe
Mm.
they'll try to run with it and publish something similar before you do, or is it not a
Oh,
worry for you?
yeah, I think I'm not really afraid of that because like there is so much stuff online nowadays, like a lot of creative coding, generative art stuff has been made.
Hmm.
So I didn't really invent stuff here in this project. It was more like an artistic direction of one algorithm, but the algorithm in itself is quietly known and open, so you can do it by yourself. But
Mhm.
I think when you put your, your soul in something, it really only you can do it. If someone wants to do it, it will just look the same and it will be really, you know, how to say, like really visible that it is a copy. So I'm
Yeah,
not really afraid of putting my stuff online because I don't really like to copy other people. Like I'm obviously inspired with a lot of stuff around me, like internet, real life. But yeah, I think I'm not really afraid of that. Like inspiration is everywhere, and if I can inspire other people, it's like actually an honor for me. So yeah, whatever.
that's great, man. That's perfect. Makes total sense. Um, my next question is, where did the idea of the name come from? When did you decide to call it Dragons?
Um, I think mostly because I really love this creature. Uh, like my Chinese astrological sign is dragon, and I was like, yeah, I never actually never made a project about that. So maybe now it's the time. Now I have some material to work on. So yeah, it came naturally, I think.
Right. And now on a more technical level, did you use Canvas 2D or WebGL?
Actually, both. And the first iteration, like when I was posting on Twitter like 2 months ago, was purely Canvas. And at some point, when I was adding more and more details, I was hitting some performances. So sometimes it took like 1 minute to render in the browser. So when fxhash came in, I was like, I can't do that for other people. So I
Right.
had to find a way to optimize my stuff. Um, so yeah, that's how I went to WebGL with WebGL
Hmm.
and with shaders because it's way more performant to apply like to make pixel color manipulation and uh,
But
and yeah, it really came naturally. Yeah.
I think the way you structure things on Canvas is quite different than the way you structure in shaders. So did you have to refactor the whole thing?
Oh yeah, I rewrote everything.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nice one.
Yeah, I rewrote everything, but I had to because I was like, yeah, I really like this render, but I can't make it available for people. It will just crush their browser.
Right.
So yeah, that it's something I'm used to, in my daily job. Like I left Making Paris, but there it was a daily challenge to make stuff running in the browser smoothly.
Mhm.
So I was not really afraid of it. I was like, just yeah, I just have to do it. I was like, yeah, okay, fine. I'll do it the proper way. Let's do it. But yeah, in Canvas, but I would say like I always start with Canvas because it's way more flexible in terms of API.
Mhm.
It's just like yeah, context dot arc, and yeah, you have a circle, and that's
Yeah.
it. In
Yeah.
WebGL, you're like, oh my God, yeah, vertex, buffer, a shader. Oh my God, so much setup. So yeah, I always prototype with Canvas first, and then once everything looks fine, I move to WebGL to make it fast enough.
Mhm.
But sometimes I'm like just, well, I mean, it depends on the project, right? Sometimes projects will require WebGL, so I'm going directly with it. But
Mhm.
most of the time, I like 2D stuff, so I always start with Canvas 2D. Yeah.
Right. And my next question is about the shadows, because I think that is it's what ties the work together. And now you're talking about starting on Canvas and then switching to WebGL. Did you already have shadows in Canvas? Were you using the Canvas filter?
Yeah, I had my shadows already in Canvas Studio.
And how did
And
you translate that to the shader, both
but
the
but it
light and
but it
shadows?
was, I mean, it was mostly like a trick. It's not really, well, here's the trick. Like, it's not really shadow and light. It's more like me saying, oh yeah, okay, shadows are like a gradient from black to transparent and in a certain direction, depending on the source light. So it was just me drawing like a like a rectangle with a gradient on top of everything,
Hmm.
and it just creates an illusion of light and shadow, but it's not really proper calculation of shadow and light. So I could just do it in 2D. It was like, yeah, draw my color and then draw my shadow on top of it. And because of the flow, so I have this flow of of shapes. I was like, okay, draw the stuff on top of it, but in a certain order to make it um, on top of each other. And every time you draw on top of each other, draw a small layer of shadow every time. So that way you have this illusion of shadow in the whole picture. So you can draw the shadow in a certain direction, with like a gradient. In Canvas 2D, you can just give the rotation of the thing. So yes, you can just simulate, I would say, like create, like have a trick and make the illusion of it.
That's smart, man. And you talked about the early process, and you were thinking about tapestry, and then it
Mm.
slowly evolved into something that looked like dragons. Uh, did you also notice the difference when you started adding shadows? You're like, oh, okay, now I'm onto something.
Yeah, definitely. That's when I started to think about a creature, like some scales and some kind of skin. So I have a proper texture, like a 3D-ish texture to work with. I was like, okay, so I'm way too far from tapestry now. This is completely something else. Let's go with it and let's see how far I can push it.
Interesting. My next question is about the release or launch. Um, what I don't want to use the word drop. What, what was the process like? I was on Discord. I was waiting for it, and there was a lot of demand, a lot of interest. Like, when did you start noticing that people were interested in it, and it was going to be likely successful?
Uh, Honestly, I had no idea. Like, like, yeah, absolutely no idea. My plan on initially was to release it, and because it was quite like, pricey for the platform, I was like, yeah, maybe it will sell, in a week or two. And I was like, yeah, fine. I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't really need like a fast sellout. I'm not interested in it. I just want people to enjoy it, no matter when. And at some point, when I had this project ready to be minted, I like, okay, let's go to the platform and start, the process of uploading it. And it wasn't working at some point because I had some issues with like the preview wasn't working because of like the server was having a problem. So it wasn't really on my side, and was like, okay, let's go to Discord and maybe ask some help. And that's when I was like, oh my God, the Discord is on fire. What's happening here? Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, there's so much people waiting for it. We're like, oh my God. So that's when I started to stress out. Or like, oh my God, people are actually waiting for it. Like, oh my God.
Right. So it was a very last minute thing, and you realized
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
And this hiccup that you mentioned that you couldn't
Yeah.
get it to run on the server, how did you get it sorted out? Did you manage to contact someone or found a
Uh,
solution yourself?
yeah, someone from the fxhash team just reached out in private on Discord,
Hmm.
and we started to test some stuff. So maybe it's using WebGL 2, maybe it's something else, you know. And at some point, he found out that it was the server that had a problem with generating the preview. So I
Hmm.
couldn't go further in the process of uploading the project because the preview step is necessary.
Hmm.
So I was stuck there. And at some point, the server started to work again, and then it was just flawless. Like, well, yeah,
Okay.
I uploaded it like in minutes.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it would probably be quite frustrating, like an anticlimax, if you'd say, "Oh, sorry, there's a bug with preview. I'm not dropping it anymore." Um, um,
Yeah, it would have been, I think, like I realized when I entered the Discord that it would have been deceptive for people if I
yeah.
wasn't dropping uh, that night. But hopefully, yeah, fortunately, it everything worked well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really gave me some stress. I was like, oh my God, so much people waiting for it. I was not
Right.
prepared for this at all. Like I had some hints before that because um like on the Monday, so the release was on the Tuesday, and on the Monday I was announcing on Twitter that I was releasing uh, on Tuesday,
Hmm.
and there was this like bot issue
Hmm.
that appeared on fxhash, which was really bad. I think it just destroys the concept of fxhash. But people reached out to me on Twitter and said, yeah, maybe you shouldn't drop on Tuesday, maybe just delay it until it's fixed and blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
And then fxhash officially said, yeah, it's not going to be resolved until weeks.
Mm.
So here are the solutions. Maybe not, maybe don't announce a proper hour, maybe change a bit the price by some, like shift by some, random numbers, the price
Hmm.
and stuff like that. It will work out. So that's what I did. And, and it was at this point, like a lot of people contacted me on Twitter in private, want, like they wanted to know when it was happening, what
Hmm.
was the price. And it was the same day of so the drop, and I was like, whoa, there's like 50, like hundred of, hey, I think like hundred of people asking me on Twitter when I was releasing it. I was like, okay, maybe I will have like 100 people buying it, on the
Right.
night. But I wasn't prepared at all for like to sell out in 5 minutes. So like,
Yeah.
fuck.
And what happened during the release and sellout? I don't even know how long it took. Maybe 5 minutes, something like that. I'd
Yeah, I
let you
think
know.
like five, 7, 8. I don't know.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know because I know that when I wanted to mint myself,
Hmm.
I couldn't.
So
Like,
so you didn't get an edition yourself.
no, it was a bit uh, weird because I had to buy my stuff on the secondary market. So, like, I bought five before the reveal. Like, I think, yeah, 50 pesos. And I was like, yeah, that's strange feeling, but yeah, whatever. I,
Okay. Okay. So now you have them. So now you have a few.
yeah.
Nice. Um, how did you decide on the price?
On the price, it was, I think, like I looked at, it was like a balance, I would say, between what what were the price on the platform on fxhash and the amount of time I spent on the project. So I'm not likely to release a project every week or 2 weeks. I like to take my time to make a project and make it good, to make it personal. And I don't release stuff until I love them, like properly. So it takes time for me. So I was like, yeah, okay. 25 is what it's worth, and maybe it's even underpriced for the amount of time I spent on it. But this is, I think, a good, fair deal for the platform and on fxhash. So that's how I came with the 25 pesos. At first, at really first, I was like, yeah, okay, maybe I should go with 50 and 256 editions. And then at the last moment, when people started to ask me, I was like, yeah, maybe I should reduce the price. So I went to 25, but I wasn't really happy with it. And then I doubled the number of edition, but and then I just kept the 25 price because I was like, yeah, so this is actually the value of it for me, at least. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna listen to people. I'm just gonna listen to me and what I think it is valued, and that's how I came with this price.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I agree with you that it has more value if you spend more time on it, and you can tell. You look at the quality of the result, you can tell the time that went into it. And about the reveal, once the collection was revealed, what was your reaction? Did you notice something that perhaps only you can tell because you wrote the whole thing?
um, had some surprise uh, because in my own test, the dragons had even more variation in terms of rotation, I would say. Like sometimes it could like totally flip. Sometimes it was totally vertical. But I think it. I was surprised that it was all homogeneous. I would say like it they all had the same base, so they're all brothers and sisters in a way. And sometimes in my own test, they were like even more different. It was like, okay, that's cool in a way that the hash I was having in my algorithm was kind of similar in a way, I guess. But I was like, yeah, okay, that's weird, but that's cool at the same time. And I was like, yeah, fine. They all look beautiful in a way. So that's cool. Another surprise for me is uh, like the colors, like the color palettes. Uh, like some were not supposed to be that rare, like like the green one and like the vegetable one and the royally one was quite rare at the end. I was like, that's weird. Well, that's cool because they are my preferred one,
Mhm.
and they ended up being the most rare. So I'm like, okay, that's cool because I was expecting them to show up way more,
Right.
but at the end, yeah, only few showed up. So that's cool.
What about the secondary market? I don't know if you're following it, but if you are, what are they selling for now, and where do you see this going for the future?
I have absolute no idea. I like a friend of mine just showed me yesterday, I think, or yeah, yesterday, like the button to like I think see marketplace, and then you can see some statistics. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my God, so much secondary market. I was like, okay, that's almost the same number than the minting one. So I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
And yeah, I wasn't following really. I was mostly interested in the reveals. I was super excited for it. Like I slept. I was like, yeah, first thing I did after all my morning stuff. But first thing I did then was like checking all the reveals, and like I think the 35 pages were like, yeah, just go through them and see how they look. But I didn't know really about the secondary sales. But because for me, secondary sales were stuck to when I bought them back, like when they were like 50 pesos. Was like, yeah, okay, it's like a two factor, and we're like, yeah, okay, that's already a lot.
Hmm.
And now I'm seeing like numbers like, what the fuck, like 2,000 pesos. I'm like,
Oh, really?
what? Like, yeah, okay, okay. People are into it. Like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is the week of the release. If we decide to publish this video, maybe in like a year's time or 2 years' time, we're going
Hmm.
to look back at these numbers, and maybe they will be ridiculously high or ridiculously low. We don't know.
We don't
Um,
know, yeah.
yeah,
We don't know. You never know with all this NFT crypto stuff. It just goes and come. Yeah.
true. Yeah. Um, I think this is my last question is about printing. So it is something that I'm particularly interested in. I I like creative coding. I have some empty walls on my flat, so I want to fill them up with art that is made by our community. I want to hear your thoughts on printing. I know that the canvas size of Dragons is 2048 by 2048,
Yeah.
which I think is about maybe 17, 18 centimeters at
Yeah,
300
that's it.
dpi.
Yeah.
So would it be possible to generate bigger prints with the same code base? Maybe not the one that you minted, but the code base that you have at home, in case someone reaches out to you and say, "I love mine. I want it big on my wall." Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
this is actually something that a lot of people asked me in
mhm,
private. And I was like, okay, there's a lot of uh, demand for like prints.
mhm,
And I tried to print my previous iteration of like the tapestry stuff like 2 months ago. I made a lot of tries and errors and fails,
mhm,
and it wasn't really good. I think like the size was okay, but the something was off, and so that's definitely possible. But I couldn't do it for like the dragons because yeah, as you said, the canvas is 2048 square, but that's just because I had this browser limitation, so I couldn't like if like I can go higher, but the thing is I don't want your browser to crash.
mhm,
So that was something I had to deal with during my process when I started to make it like okay, this is going to fxhash. I need to fix the resolution because on my machine is fine. I can go 4K, 5K. It will take like 1 minute to render, but that's not acceptable for like something like for me. It's not acceptable for
mhm,
someone to wait 1 minute to see an image. Like for me, it's fine, but so I think it's definitely possible for me to update my code base and scale every little thing like in the shaders, in the computation with a ratio, I guess. This is something I think I started like yesterday to explore. So yeah, my tests are going. and yeah, I think I will keep people in touch. Like, yeah,
Right.
I will keep people updated about it. But that's definitely something I would like to see on walls. Like if I can see, I think this is the best thing an artist can have is to see his art being in other people's home. See,
Mm.
for me, this is the best thing to me. Like I want my art even in my living room, like in my yeah. This is something I really cherish. I would say
Yeah.
to have some physical um, stuff being made with code. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. So maybe that is still in progress. So maybe it's still going to happen. You're going to have bigger versions or printed versions of dragons.
Mm.
And what if the buyer or the person who minted and who owns one, what if they want to just print one themselves? Like it's still going to be small, but
Yeah.
they have enough resolution to generate one. What
Yeah. Definitely.
would
Yeah.
you
Like
approve of that?
yeah, I said everyone who asks like go for it and yeah, send me a
Hmm.
picture when you've done it. Yeah, I'm
Nice.
totally up for it. Like if you use it for your own use, like you bought the right to do it, right? But don't sell like hundred prints with my code base. No, that's not right.
Yeah,
But yeah, you bought the right to use it for you, so
that's very
definitely
nice.
do it. Definitely do it.
Man, this was very insightful. So thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you too,
And
man.
and congratulations on the project. It's great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you a lot. It wasn't really, I wasn't really like expecting that much, um, you know, people on doing it. But yeah, that's cool. That's cool that my stuff is appreciated. It's always nice to have feedbacks. So yeah, I love it, and I think it's it makes me like more confident to continue in this path and make more. So yeah, I think 2022 will be even more art for me. So yeah, that's cool.
That's great to hear. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, man.
Thanks.